Hello and welcome to Talking the Game. It's just finished. Watford 1, West Ham United 1. Lots of drama, lots of action, a red card, goals, chances, referee, bullets, lots to discuss. We're here with our sponsor, Well Under Watches. Charlie, we didn't have to wait long, did we? 2 minutes in, then bam, penalty.
Yeah, it's weird when these things happen so quickly because we either start really well or really badly. It's never somewhere in the middle. We can't just be a normal team, can we? And I missed the beginning of it. So rewatching it, I saw that Chiaki was the person who gave it away, and I wasn't expecting it to be malice from him because he's not that kind of person. It wasn't. It was really just sort of clumsiness on his part, not being aware of his surroundings, and Zarate being exactly what to do. Just get in front of him, put your foot, get in front of him, and you get a penalty. There's not much more really to be said about it, to be honest.
Charlie, I think you're right there. Clumsy. Gonzo, good play by Watford, though. Do you think good ball by Cleverly, good ball by Deeney? Granted, it came off Font, but
yeah,
you spend 2 weeks, Gonzo. You spend 2 weeks. We've spent 2 weeks planning for this game, and then literally 3 minutes into the game, we're 1-0 down.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be tough, and there were a lot of preparations. You say going out to Dubai as well and all that. I thought Zarate was quite clever. I don't think he sort of came out of his periphery, so Kiate's running towards it, and I think Zarate just cut in front of him. I don't think Kiate knew he was going to be there, and because he's quite a big sort of languid chap, by the time Zarate was much shorter, better centre of balance and cut in front of him, he almost stumbled into him, and it was a pen really. But much the same as when Chadley did his little bit, I thought it did sort of show up the deficiencies of having a proper right back there that may not have happened.
I'm not sure the right back thing affects that actually, because Kiat is where he should be. It's just that he just doesn't, like Charlie said, he's unaware that Zarate's coming. So, but even if he's playing centre midfield, he should be expected to be able to trap back into that position anyway without committing a foul. So I get what you're saying to an extent, but I don't think the right back scenario affected that one. But I do think it affected the game overall. But we'll come on to that. 1-0 Watford after 3 minutes. Troy Deeney, fantastic pen really. Niang and Capu went close from long range shots, but in the first 45 minutes, Gonzo, or even the game, I suppose, all we really restricted them to, wasn't it? Long shots. They didn't really get much chances.
They didn't have much, and I felt that we were probably the better team in both halves, actually. And Antonio was giving, I mean, Jan Matt was their right back. Clearly, he was targeting him. He had the better of him as well. And I didn't think they were very good, Watford, actually. I didn't think Watford were a very good team at all. I'd seen them, watched highlights of them in the previous games, particularly since Niang's come in. Expected them to pose more of a threat. But, yeah, as you say, we certainly contained them very well.
Charlie, do you think Snodgrass should be doing better for that chance? Faguli did well. Holobas was trying to usher it out. Faguli nicked it, put on just as good a pass as he can to Snodgrass. I think he's took the wrong option. He's opened up. He's going for the far corner. I think he should be putting his laces through that one and just hoping it hits the net.
Yeah, you're right. He has two options there. He either does what he did, which is open up, looking for that far top corner, or you just absolutely lever it with all the might you possibly can. And in that situation, you just have to put your foot through it. It's unfortunate because you can see what he's trying to do, but with Kabul getting so close to him, it just goes straight at him, and it's a massive opportunity wasted. You can't blame him too much, but you're right. He made the wrong decision. He should have just levered it.
Well, we're going to have to talk about the referee a few times, unfortunately. Let's talk about the first one. Now, this one has gone unnoticed, I think. Charlie, Antonio got nudged when he took it over the top of Holobas. And then the other centre-back, not Kabul, I can't remember his name, gave him a little nudge, just enough to put him off balance. Then Kabul blocked Antonio's shot. Is this where strikers, people keep saying people go down too easy, is this where Antonio should actually go down and give the referee a decision to make?
Yeah, and we've seen it a few times. It's a bad thing to say, but he has to go down because the fact is that referees' decisions aren't consistent enough to be able to pick up on it. And so unless he goes down, then he's just not going to get given it. And we saw the same thing happen slightly later on where go down, you're most likely going to get it. It's horrible to say, it really is. And you don't want to advocate sort of misleading people or whatever, but they're just not consistent enough. Someone has to pick that up, whether it be the linesman or the referee or whatever. Someone has to pick that up, because you're right. It's not a big thing. It's not a blatant foul. He's not hacked him down, but he's nudged him enough to put him completely off balance in a situation where all he needs to do is take a touch to either take a shot or put it into the box, and that could have quite easily ended up as a goal. So is it a foul? It would have been a soft one, but it's clearly affected him hugely.
Yeah, well, one man, let's talk about this guy quickly, Gonzo. Aaron Creswell. Now, we just said Kiai got targeted, rightly enough. Creswell's had question marks defensively, but I think they didn't really give him much to deal with down that hand side. But going forward, especially in the second half, Creswell was back on his A game today. Do you think? In the first half, let's talk about this chance. So Creswell's crosswind, Gomez got a touch to it. It came to Snodgrass, who just was a bit flat-footed.
Well, it was. You're right. They were targeting us down our right side, their left side. So our left side, Cresswell's side, was pretty solid. Couple of crosses, 2 real humdingers, one in each half in particular, were fantastic. The one you're referring to, yeah, Snodgrass should have done a lot better, but it fell on his weaker foot. Now, I felt because it was on his weaker foot, it sort of rebounded to him, so he felt he needed to take a touch. And if you look at that touch again, it must have gone about 4 yards in front of him. I think if he was right-footed or it had fallen onto his stronger side, he just hits it first time and it's goal. But Snodgrass, who I didn't think was good today at all, started playing in that first half in an odd position. So I don't want to blame him too much. It's very, very early for him. But yeah, I thought he was poor today. And the one thing he was brought in to do, which was his deliveries, I thought his general play was poor and his deliveries were poor. But yes, he certainly should have stuck that away.
Yeah, I think you're right there saying Snodgrass was in an odd position. I think a lot of the players were in an odd position, actually. But Bilic, at half-time, a lot of people, I think 90% West Ham fans had at least one change in their head. They were wanting to see one sub. Bilic stuck with the 11, but he made changes, and moving Lanzini into the centre position, Charlie, that's what, didn't win the game, but you know what I mean, it got us something from the game, just that one change.
Yeah, and people talk about him being quiet a lot, and I think he's quiet when he's over on the left or slightly deeper. When he's in that central role behind a striker, he's so good. He's so good. His close control was excellent. His dribbling's excellent. That one opportunity where he took it past 2 or 3 players and then just with his left foot, just slightly slopped the ball through. No one got on the end of it, and it did end up in a goal. But that's the sort of creativity that not many players can produce, especially at West Ham. He's a level above what we have playing in that central role, and I can't see any reason for him to be moved that wide, especially with the amount of wingers we got. I don't get why he plays there at all, but he's just vital. And if he continues to play in that sense, down that central role, as long as the people around him are on point, it should be easy for him. It should be easy for him.
Gonzo, do you think Lanzini moving role also allowed Antonio, not so much Fuguli, we'll talk about Fuguli after the game, by the way. Do you think it allowed Antonio, to an extent, Snodgrass and Creswell coming down the left? Because Lanzini was on the left in the first half. Now he got shifted out of Creswell's way, if you like, so that Creswell could come forward. I think that one change actually impacted 3 or 4 players in the second half.
Yeah, I did, and I've actually took some notes for once. I don't normally, but I've been drinking a little bit during the game, so I'll take some notes just so I don't forget anything. And I've written something down here, and the word I wrote for Lanzini was liberated. And I thought in the second half he was very much liberated, and it certainly did create other space for everybody else to go into because he's so sharp in his mind. I think that the other players feel that they can make those runs knowing that they're going to get the ball. They're a lot more confident making those runs with him in that position than anybody else in that position. I also think he was sensational in that second half, and I think most people would agree that probably one of the best number 10s in the league is Coutinho. I think he looked every bit as good as him today, and it was your prediction a little while ago. You said last season you thought Lanzini could possibly be one day as good as Payet, and I think certainly he's going a long way to proving that. He ran that show in the second half.
Yeah, I think he was key to our performance. In the first half, I thought we played well. I thought we were the better team, but we were just lacking. When we got to the final third, we struggled. We just didn't know what to do. The crosses weren't working. There was no one in the box. Just moving Lanzini around him, the rest of the team just clicked. Creswell came down more. Obiang and Noble finally had... In the first half, Obiang's passing success was 100%, and Noble's was 86%. But Noble done more successful passes than Obiang. He'd done twice as many passes as Obiang. But between them, they're doing 185% out of the 200%. That's huge, absolutely massive. But the reason it's so high is because there was no one in front of them to give the ball to. So they were passing to each other, basically, and out to Chiati, Creswell, and the centre back. Putting Lanzini in there in the second half, the amount of times I saw him just drifting to the side of Cleverley. So Noble just had to do a 5-yard pass into Lanzini's feet, and the whole team could just push up. And it's so important. I think from now on, certainly for this not so distant future, Bilic has to get his team sheet, right Lanzini, and then work out the rest of his 10 players. He's got to stay in that centre position, I think. And I think it's important. And I think the second half and the first half today was a game of two halves for West Ham, and Lanzini was the difference. But credit to Bilic for changing it at half-time, because he's usually quite slow at changing stuff. But before, straight after the half-time, actually, Gonzo, Chiati, who gave away the pen, went down because Niang had his arm around him. Now, there was a debate. Did Chiati foul him first? What did you see? Is that a foul against Chiati, or is that a penalty? Or is it, well, it was a foul, but he didn't give it, so it should be a penalty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got to break it down into its component parts. So exactly what you said. So first of all, Chiati fouled Niang. Now, at that point, the referee has not given it. So, okay, that's fine. Once we get past that stage, Niang is then playing on the fact that Chiati fouled him. So the arm goes out, it wraps around Chiati, and he's doing that thing where he's mimicking, I'm talking about Niang here, is mimicking the fall to the ground with the arm outstretched, but he's trying to grab Chiati and take him with him. It was a pen, bearing in mind he'd not given the initial foul. It was then a penalty. Absolutely. It had to be, because at no point was the ball played, and there was a lot of physical contact made, and he was trying to drag him to the ground. Nailed on pen.
So, but was it a free kick first, though? If
yes,
you were a
yes,
Watford
yes, it
fan,
was.
would you be sitting there going, well, actually, Niang got fouled?
Yes,
Charlie,
it was.
Same for you?
It probably is. I mean, he pulls him back early on. Niang is sort of falling off. I guess the decision then becomes, do you say it is taking advantage and seeing the way how it plays out, and then once it's clear Niang is falling over, then he goes, okay, it's a foul? Or has he just decided it's not a foul and he's moved on? And that's the decision we have to make. My biggest problem with it, whether it's a foul or not, is just the consistency. If the first one is a foul, then the second one is a foul. If their penalty is a foul, then ours is a foul. And there's no consistency. And that's where the problem really lies. If it's not a foul, it's not a foul, fine. Just write it down in the rule book. We will move on with our lives. But the problem is there's no consistency in anything anyone ever says. And so we have no idea whether it is or isn't. We have to speculate like this. For me personally, I think he's played the advantage. When Niang doesn't get back up, he calls the foul for Chiati. But it's a stupid. It should be made earlier than that. It's pointless. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure Chiati would have created anything after that anyway, even if it did happen.
I have to agree with you there, though, to be fair, Charlie. We'll come on to individual performances. Ayew then came on for Snodgrass, which I think we'll all agree was the right sub, even before he scored. But another Creswell cross, Charlie, another Creswell cross. But Antonio, this is the challenges he's been taking since he joined us. Were you at this point thinking it's just not going to be our day today?
A little bit, yeah. What a ball it was from Cresswell. I mean, you mentioned it slightly before about how well he played going forward today. Like, that cross was inch perfect. That's exactly, if you're a striker and you're running into the box, that's exactly the sort of thing you want. It was whipped, it was low, it was fast. The defenders couldn't get there. It was in the corridor of uncertainty where the goalkeeper can't get it and the defenders can't get it. And all it took was a touch. Unfortunately, he's not managed to get it in, which is unlike him, because you would have thought in that position he would have been able to do it. But I mean, what a ball from Cresswell. Just, I want to concentrate on that as opposed to the miss, because it was absolutely just inch perfect.
Yeah, I think the defender just put him off just by being in front of Antonio. I think I've got my sheet of paper, Caleri on 4. But he didn't get to come on, Gonzo, because Ayew scored. How unlucky was Antonio, though?
He was really unlucky, but what I want to go back to, everything that you expect from Antonio there, which was the pace, the power. That's why Bilic will play him in that position. The one you were just alluding to where he missed it, that's why we need a striker, and we've needed a striker for some time. But striker right back, 18 months. Someone needs to address it. Not going to bore anyone anymore. That's why Antonio shouldn't play in that position. when the Cresswell put the ball over. The reason he should play in that position when Antonio's injured is because of the goal that Ayew subsequently scored. Sorry. The interesting thing was Lanzini's sneaky little ball just played him in. The vision that he had, he played him in. Antonio used his pace and his power. I thought it was going to go into the stands. He connected sweetly with his left foot. Post again. Ayew pops it in. He was unlucky, but Ayew will be pleased with that.
Is this what we need for Ayew, Gonzo? Just, his first one was his only goal for us before today was Swansea's, a tap in, another tap in today. Is this what he needs though? Just a little bit of a confidence boost?
Yeah, I mean, I would have said before today, and even actually when he came on, it's really tough for an African player to join a new club in African Cup of Nations year. So, for instance, Kiate is fine. Kiate's been here a few seasons, so we can miss him for a couple of months, and that's fine. We all know what Kiate can do, or anybody else for that matter. Ayew comes in, he gets an injury, gets fit, and then goes off to the African Cup of Nations. He's really not cemented himself in the team, and he's not cemented himself with the fans either. So we don't really know what he can do. We don't know what his position is. So it's a bit up in the air for everyone. So it's going to be good for him to score. I still don't know what his position is, but if you looked at that first half, I'm not sure anybody knew what their position was, perhaps aside from Fonte, Reed and Obiang. Aside from that, everybody was sort of dovetailing all over the place. So yeah, hopefully it'll do him some good, and I'm sure he'll find his way into the team between now and the end of the season, get some starting berths, and then see what he can do.
Well, he might be starting the next game because on the 85th, 86th minute, Michail Antonio lost the ball, Charlie, and then decides to punch it. Decides to get, while you're on a booking. I mean, is that a stupid thing to do? You're on a booking, you know you're on a booking. I actually think he's fouls, not bookable fouls, but he'd done a couple of fouls as well while on a booking, so he was probably already on the referee's radar to an extent, and then he just punches the ball.
Oh, yeah, and he knows exactly what he's doing. It's the stupidest thing possible for both him and for the team. And not just because he misses Chelsea, but Watford at this point. They're really struggling. Our entire team is really set up for counter-attacking football, and they're trying to go push forward and get a goal. And so when we are most likely to score is right now. And the guy who, and I say a lot of crap about him constantly, but he has the power, he has the pace, he has the movement. If one person might get into the box and get into a position to glance a header into the net or do whatever, it's going to be him. And for him to ruin the chances almost of the entire team like that is for literally no reason. Like, is the stupidest thing he could have done. They might have counter-attacked and done something, sure, but like, it wasn't exactly. One of their players got booked for pulling back Lanzini when he's on a counter-attack. You can understand that. That's like a professional thing. He's probably going to go through and do something. There was no reason for him to do it, and it was pure stupidity on his part. Pure. Do
you agree with that, Gonzo? Do you think he's taking one for the team, or do you think he's trying to call the referee's bluff a little bit and go, have you really got the balls to send me off for just touching the ball in my hand? Have you got the balls to do this?
None of them. I don't think there was any thought involved at all. I thought it was pure instinct. I'm pretty sure he would have regretted it almost instantly. It was a flagrant sort of swipe at the ball with his hand. He would have regretted it instantly. There's no doubt about it. But it'll be a big miss for Chelsea because we are not going to outpass Chelsea. We're not going to have the best of the technique. We're not going to have the best of the game against Chelsea. The one chance we have against Chelsea is that we might be able to outmuscle them a little bit. Maybe be slightly more athletic. That's gonna hurt us.
Yeah, that's the main thing. You know, he doesn't just affect the next 5 minutes of the game. He affects the next 95 minutes of the game. Albeit we're not going to start with 10 men against Chelsea, but he's a big player to lose. There was a last minute scramble there for Watford. Charlie, are we lucky, just very quickly before we move on, we need to wrap this up soon, very quickly, are we lucky that Isaac's success just wasn't very good today? Because he had about 3 goal-scoring chances almost.
Yeah, he got into some decent positions and moved well, but just was not at the races when it came to his finishing. That last one especially, all he had to do was really get a touch on it, and I think Randolph would have been stranded and not able to do anything. That's not a diss on Randolph, that's just because he was that quick and that soon into the box. No way he should have got a touch to it. I think we are lucky. I think if he was maybe brought on slightly earlier and had a chance to get a few misses under his belt, you know, but just work his way into the game, maybe he would have been able to have done something. But as it happens, all he needed was a touch and get there, which is, you know, on unfortunate.
Right, a quick discussion. Gonzo Figuli, what did you make of him today?
I thought that Antonio was by far, well, not by far. I thought Antonio was our biggest threat in the first half, and Lanzini was our biggest threat in the second half. I think overall, Figuli was our biggest threat. I thought he was really impressive today.
Do you think his crosses, Charlie, got overlooked just because no one connected with them? Do you know, Creswell's people connected with him, and one fell Snodgrass's feet. So we're going to talk about Creswell's crosses. But I thought Figuli's was just as good. Well, not quite as good, but they were consistently very good. But the problem was there was no one connecting with them, so we're not really going to discuss them as much.
Yeah, and another thing that gets overlooked, is his work rate. Everyone talks about Snodgrass's work rate, and quite rightly, but I mean, the dude didn't stop running today. And, that chance where he's in the opening moments in the first 15 minutes, whatever it was, where he sneaks in, gets around a person, gets the ball off him, gets the ball in, he played really well. His crosses were fantastic. And if we had more people in an advanced position, given the way we set up originally was to counter-attack and the people weren't getting forward enough, if we had more people forward, a lot of those crosses might have been got on the end of, but none of them were, unfortunately, due to whatever. But he played really well, really, really well.
Well, luckily, no microphones were thrown today, Gonzo. But Bilic, do you think he's got a right to be aggravated today on the touchline? I mean, we spoke about the Chiati one, but then there was another one when Chiati got nudged in the back on the edge of the box. Creswell got his arm pulled. Do you think Bilic was fuming again?
He was, and Fernandez caught them certainly at least half a boot's worth of studs on his knee towards the end as well. Yeah, he's got every right to be aggrieved and to be agitated, but I thought the fourth official handled him well. And there was one part where the fourth official went, look, enough's enough, go and sit down, because he was very animated. Slav went and said, oh, sorry, went and sat down, then got up again, shook the fourth official's hand and went out and started shouting from the touchline again. So he's obviously handling it quite well. He's not a cat with 9 lives. He's only got one more chance. He didn't get the touchline ban. Next time he does something wrong, he'll get a touchline ban. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, again, I think we've had the rough end of the stick as far as the officials have been concerned, certainly in the second half of this season.
Charlie, are you happy? Happy Hammers, a point gain, 2 dropped. What are you thinking? What's your overall thoughts? Don't tell me your man match, but what's your overall thoughts?
Given our recent form against them, I probably should be quite happy with a draw. But I think that was there for the taking for us. I think if we played a bit more of an adventurous formation, we maybe would have gone. And I don't think they looked particularly great. I think they were helped by how defensive we were, which is, again, understandable given our recent form, especially going there. But ultimately, I'm a bit disappointed. I think we should come away today with 3 points.
Gonzo, same questions.
Yeah, I think 2 points lost. I think he's Bilic is a reactionary manager. I think he's got to see everything in front of him, then he reacts. So I think if we'd have got things right tactically and in terms of personnel in the right positions in the first half, then we would have comfortably won that. I didn't think Watford were very good today. I would imagine the Watford fans will come along. Will probably say that they did well to get a point today. I'd imagine if Watford look back, they'll probably think that was one of their worst performances of the season. So, yeah, 2 points lost, I think.
I find it hard to criticise Bilic tactically. While I wasn't happy with how we were set up in the first half, I think it all depends on the fact that we conceded in the 3rd minute. Watford just went right to the edge of the 18-yarder and we struggled to break them down and stuff. And I do wonder, had that goal not happened, had Chikiati not give away that penalty, it could have been a different game completely. I thought we played fantastic today, actually, from the first minute till the last. I thought we were brilliant. There's only one player I'd really criticise, and that's Chikiati. I thought even his penalty, I didn't think he was very good. But he's playing out of position again. We've got a right back sitting on the bench. It just doesn't make sense. I've said it before, Bilic finds it easy to drop some players, and I think he's finding it difficult to drop either Obiang, Noble or Chiati. So rather than just actually have the balls and leave one out and play 2 centre mids, he thinks, I'll just play one of them right back. Well, sorry, Slav, but you should have played Byron right back today. I think you got that wrong. I think they targeted him. I thought he was struggling a couple of times. I thought Font had to cover for him a couple of times, particularly in the second half. And I think we're just lucky we weren't up against a really, really class left winger. If we were up against a class left winger, and when we play Chelsea, if he plays Czech Chianti there, Hazard is going to have an absolute field day. He will. But Gonzo, you want to say something before we?
Just really ahead of our cup of tea, which we're doing. When are we doing it? Tomorrow, Monday, one of the 2 days. We'll release it on Twitter. I'd just like to obviously discuss that subject. So perhaps get your questions in on that, particularly the fact that Bilic finds it hard to drop the 3 players that you mentioned, because having been up at the West Ham training ground in the week, I've got something to say on that. I've got a little sort of insight in it, which Charlie would certainly share. So yeah, maybe we can discuss that on a cup of tea.
Well, you two get your man of matches in your head. I've already got mine. But while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Do your best to help the channel. We appreciate it. As Gonzo said, we'll be back Sunday or Monday night with a cup of tea. So check the forum at hammerschat.com and our social media. All links are below for when that is. On Monday, we are also got an Iron Man DVD competition. We've got not 1, not 2, but 3 copies of the DVD to give away. So again, check the social media and the forum. We're still giving away premiere tickets. So if you want to go to Iron Man premiere on Thursday, we've got 2 tickets. We'll be picking the winner on Cup of Tea. So you've got at least 24 hours to enter. There's a competition on Twitter, on Facebook, and the forum. So there's 3 ways to enter. No excuses. You can enter all 3 ways if you want. Charlie, you've been sitting there thinking, stroking your beard. Well, you haven't been stroking your beard. I'm just saying you're stroking your beard because you've got one. Who's your man of match today?
I'm trying to decide between Feghouli and Fonte, but I think I'm going to go with. Fonte. I think given the people around him, he did really well. He made a few last-ditch challenges that were just absolute goal stoppers. He covered Chianti really, really well today, and when he needed to step up to the plate, he did. I was happy when he came in, and I'm equally happy after today. I think he had a really storming game, Fonte.
Gonzo, your man of match.
What a great shout. I mean, that tackle must have been the last 5 minutes, like Bobby Moore against Pele. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. Not only did he win the tackle, he actually kept the ball, controlled the ball, came out with the ball and passed it out. Very classy, very nice, Jose Font. But Feghouli for me, for the reasons that I gave earlier.
I'm finding it difficult to step away from my favourite player. I'm a bit biased, I know, but Lanzini for me was the match winner. I keep saying match winner. We didn't win the match. It feels like we won the match for some reason. I think we just played that well that we deserved to win the match. But for me, Lanzini was a level above all the other 21 outfielders on that pitch today, including the subs. I think he was, if you were to say who's going to play for a top 4 club, for me, you would look at Lanzini and think, that boy's got it all. He's got everything that locker. But I'm sorry, but he was utter brilliant. But I think Feghouli was probably better consistently. But Lanzini just take it up that level and just really dictate play. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. Who was your man of match? Got 3 different answers here. Not one of us picked Antonio, who ran him. If he didn't get sent off, actually, I think he might have been in with a shout for man of match. But just because of his handball, he's. But come on to the forum at hammerschat.com. Follow us on Twitter at hammers_chat. It's facebook.com/hammerschat. And yeah, competitions galore, a cup of tea. Thank you for joining us. Drop your man of match below, all your thoughts on the game. And we will see you, me and Gonzo will see you Sunday or Monday night. Thank you for joining us.